God said to Abraham, kill me a son. Abe says, man, you must be putting me on. God say, no. Abe say, what? God say, you can do what you want, Abe, but the next time you see me coming, you better run. Well, Abe says, where'd you want this killing done? God says, out on Highway 61. Well, Georgia Sam, he had a bloody nose. Welfare department, they wouldn't give him no clothes. He asked poor Howard, where can I go? Howard said, there's only one place I know. Sam said, tell me quick, man, I gotta run. Old Howard just pointed with his gun and said, that way, down on Highway 61. Well, Mac the Finger said to Louis the King, I got 40 red, white, and blue shoestrings and 1,000 telephones that don't ring. Do you know where I can get rid of these things? And Louis the King said, let me think for a minute, son. And he said, yeah, I think it can be easily done. Just take everything down to Highway 61. Now the fifth daughter on the 12th night told the first father that things weren't right. My complexion, she said, is much too white. He said, come here and step into the light. He says, you're right. Let me tell the second mother this has been done. But the second mother was with the seventh son, and they were both out on Highway 61. Now the roving gambler, he was very bored. He was trying to create a next world war. He found a promoter who nearly fell off the floor. He said, I never engaged in this kind of thing before, but yes, I think it can be very easily done. We'll just put some bleachers out in the sun and have it on Highway 61. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. No, I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. Well, I wake in the morning, fold my hands and pray for rain. I got a head full of ideas that are driving me insane. It's a shame the way she makes me scrub the floor. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. No, I ain't gonna work for Maggie's brother no more. No, I ain't gonna work for Maggie's brother no more. Well, he hands you a nickel, he hands you a dime, he asks you with a grin, are you having a good time? Then he finds you every time you slam the door. Nah, I ain't gonna work for Maggie's brother no more. I ain't gonna work for Maggie's pa no more. No, I ain't gonna work for Maggie's pa. Well, he puts his cigar out in your face just for kicks. His bedroom window, it's made out of bricks. And the National Guard stands around his door. No, I ain't gonna work for Maggie's pa no more. I ain't gonna work for Maggie no more. Maggie's ma no more. No, I ain't gonna work for Maggie's ma. Well, she talks to all the servants about man and God and law. Everybody says she's the brains behind pa. She's 68, but she says she's 24. Ha! I ain't gonna work for Maggie's ma no more. No, I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm neither. No, I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. Well, I try my best to be just like I am, but everybody wants you to be just like them. They sing while you slave, and I just get bored. Nah, I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. My love, she speaks like silence, without ideals or violence. She doesn't have to say she's faithful, yet she's true like ice, like fire. People carry roses, make promises by the hours. My love, she laughs like the flowers. Valentines can't buy her. In the dime stores and bus stations, People talk of situations, read books, repeat quotations, draw conclusions on the wall. Some speak of the future. My love, she speaks softly. She knows there's no success like failure, and that failure's no success at all. The cloak and dagger dangles, madams light the candles. In ceremonies of the horseman, even the pawn must hold a grudge. Statues made of matchsticks crumble into one another. My love, she winks, she does not bother. She knows too much to argue or to judge. The bridge at midnight trembles. The country doctor rambles. Bankers' nieces seek perfection, expecting all the gifts that wise men bring. The wind howls like a hammer. The night blows cold and rainy. My love, she's like some raven at my window with a broken wing. She's got everything she needs. She's an artist. She don't look back. She's got everything she needs. She's an artist and she don't look back. She can take the dark out of the nighttime and paint the daytime black. You'll start outstanding, proud to steal her anything she sees. You'll start outstanding, proud to steal her anything she sees. But you will wind up peeking through her keyhole down upon your knees. She never stumbles. She's got no place to fall. No, she never stumbles. She has got no place to stall. She's nobody's child. The law can't touch her at all. She wears an Egyptian ring that sparkles before she speaks. Yeah, she wears an Egyptian ring, and it sparkles before she speaks. She's a hypnotist collector. You are a walking antique. Bow down to her on Sunday. Salute her when her birthday comes. Bow down to her on Sunday. Salute her when her birthday comes. For Halloween, give her a trumpet. And for Christmas, buy her a drum. They're selling postcards of the hanging. Yep, they're selling postcards of the hanging. Yeah, they're painting the passports brown. The beauty parlour, it's filled with sailors. Circus is in town. Here comes the blind commissioner. They've got him in a trance. One hand is tied to the tightrope walker and the other's in his pants. Well, there's the riot squad. They're restless. They need some place to go. Well, Lady and I are looking out tonight from Desolation Row. Cinderella, she seems so easy. It takes one to know one, she smiles. She puts her hands in her back pockets and Devi Data style. And in comes Romeo. He's moaning, "You belong to me, I believe." And someone says, "You're in the wrong place, my friend. You'd better leave." And the only sound that's left after the ambulances go is Cinderella sweeping up on Desolation Row. Now the moon, it's almost hidden. The stars are beginning to hide. The fortune-telling lady has even taken all her things inside. All except for Cain and Abel and the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Everyone else is making love, or else expecting rain. And the Good Samaritan, he's dressing, he's getting ready for the show. He's going to the carnival tonight on Desolation Row. Ah, poor Ophelia. She's beneath the window, and for her I feel so afraid. On her 22nd birthday, she's already an old maid. To her, death is quite romantic. She wears an iron vest. Her profession's her religion. Her sin is her lifelessness. And though her eyes are fixed upon Noah's great rainbow, she spends her time peeking into Desolation Row. Einstein, he's disguised as Robin Hood, wouldn't you know that? And he's got his memories in a trunk. He passed this way an hour ago with his friend, that jealous monk. He looked so immaculately frightful as he bummed a cigarette. And then he went off sniffing drain pipes and reciting the alphabet. Now you would not think to look at him. But he was famous long ago for playing the electric violin on Desolation Row. Dr. Filth, he keeps his world inside a leather cup, but all his sexless patients, they're trying to blow it up. Now his nurse, some local loser, she's in charge of the cyanide hole. And she keeps the cards that read, "Have mercy on his soul." They all play on penny whistles. You can hear them blow if you lean your head out far enough from Desolation Row. If you lean your head far enough from Desolation Row, but only if. Across the street, they've nailed the curtains. They're getting ready for the feast, the Phantom of the Opera, a perfect image of a priest. They're spoon-feeding Casanova to get him feel more assured. Then they'll kill him with self-confidence after poisoning him with words. And the Phantom's shouting to the skinny girls, "Get out of here if you don't know! Casanova's just being punished for going to Desolation Row." Damn right, too. Now, at midnight, all the agents and a superhuman crew, they come out and round everyone up. They know more than they do. Then they bring them to the factory where the heart attack machine is strapped across their shoulders. And then the kerosene is brought down from the castles by insurance men who go check to see that nobody is escaping to Desolation Row. Praise be to Nero's Neptune. The Titanic sails at dawn. And everybody's shouting, "Which side are you on?" And Ezra Pound and T.S. Eliot, they're fighting in the captain's tower, while calypso singers laugh at them and fishermen hold flowers. Between the windows of the sea, where lovely mermaids flow, and nobody has to think too much about Desolation Row. Yeah, I got your letter yesterday about the time the board knob broke. When you asked how I was doing. Was that some kind of joke? All these people that you mentioned, yes, I know them, they're quite lame. I had to rearrange their faces and give them all another name. Right now I can't read too good. Don't send me no letters, no. Not unless you mail them from Desolation Row. "Oh man, there must be some kind of way out of here," said the Joker to the thief. "There's too much confusion. I can't get no relief. Businessmen, they drink my wine. Plowmen dig my earth. None of them along the line know what any of it is worth." No reason to get excited, the thief, he kindly spoke. "There are many here among us who feel that life is but a joke. But you and I, we've been through that. This is not our fate. So let's not talk falsely now, because the hour is getting late." All along the watchtower, princes kept the view, while all the women came and went, barefoot servants too. Outside in the distance, a wild cat did growl. Two riders were approaching. The wind began to howl. Bob Dylan's won the Nobel Prize for Literature. We waited a long time for that. And isn't it ironic that on his latest album he's recorded silly songs? Polka dots and moonbeams being one of them. I'll leave that to your sense of irony. I think I lost mine around the corner there. Gord's Poetry Show, number God knows what. It's the next one after the last one, I know that for sure. Another great American writer is Billy Collins. Various of his titles find their way to Poetry Show. Not in the order of release either, more anarchically, you know. This one's The Art of Drowning, published by the University of Pittsburgh Press. A long time ago. 1995. Goodness gracious, what a long time that is. But quite as long ago as Keats or, Virgil even, But, all poetry is eternal. Days. Each one is a gift, no doubt, mysteriously placed in your waking hand or set upon your forehead moments before you open your eyes. Day begins cold and bright, the ground heavy with snow, and the thick masonry of ice, the sun glinting off the turrets of clouds, through the calm eye of the window. Everything is in its place, but so precariously, this day might be resting somehow on the one before it. All the days of the past stacked high, like the impossible tower of dishes entertainers used to build on stage. No wonder you find yourself perched on top of a tall ladder, hoping to add one more. Just another Wednesday, you whisper. Then, holding your breath, place this cup on yesterday's saucer, without the slightest clink. Tuesday, June 4, 1991. By the time I get myself out of bed, the wife has left the house to take her botany final, and the painter has arrived in his van and is already painting the columns of the front porch white and the decking grey. It is early June, a breezy and sun-filled Tuesday that would quickly be forgotten were it not for my writing these few things down as I sit here empty-headed at the typewriter with a cup of coffee, light and sweet. I feel like the secretary to the morning, whose only responsibility is to take down its bright, airy dictation until it's time to go to lunch with the other girls, all of us ordering the cottage cheese with half a pear. This is what stenographers in courtrooms do, too. Alert at their miniature machines, taking down every word when there is silence, and when there is a silence, they sit still as I do, waiting and listening, fingers resting lightly on the keys. This is also what Samuel Pepys did, jotting down in private ciphers minor events that would have otherwise slipped into the dark, amnesiac waters of the Thames. His vigilance finally paid off when London caught fire, as mine does when the painter comes in for coffee and says how much he likes this slow vocal rendition of You Don't Know What Love Is. And I figure I will make him a tape when he goes back to his brushes and pails. Under the music, I can hear the rush of cars and trucks on the highway, and every so often the new kitten, Felix, hops into my lap and watches my fingers drumming out a running record of this particular June Tuesday as it unrolls before my eyes a long, intricate carpet that I am walking on slowly with my head bowed, knowing that it is leading me to the quiet shrine of the afternoon and the melancholy candles of evening. If I look up, I see out the window the white stars of clematis, climbing a ladder of strings, a woodpile, a stack of faded bricks, a small green garden of herbs. Things you would expect to find outside a window, all written down now and placed in the setting of a stanza as unalterably as they are seated in their chairs in the ontological rooms of the world. Yes, this is the kind of job I could succeed in. An unpaid but contented amanuensis whose hands are two fluttering birds on the lettered keys, whose eyes see sunlight splashing through the leaves, and the bright pink asterisks of honeysuckle, and the piano at the other end of this room, with its small vase of faded flowers and its empty bench. So convinced am I that I have found my vocation, tomorrow I'll begin chronicling earlier, at dawn, a time when hangmen and farmers are up and doing, while men holding pistols stand in a field back to back. It is the time the ancients imagined in robes, as Eos or Aurora, who would leave her sleeping husband in bed, not to take her botany final, but to pull the sun, her brother, over the horizon's brilliant rim, her four-horse chariot aimed at the zenith of the sky. But tomorrow dawn will come the way I picture her, barefoot and disheveled, standing outside my window in one of the fragile cotton dresses of the poor. She will look in at me with her thin arms extended, offering a handful of birdsong and a small cup of light. Canadian poet Anne Compton. I don't think we've read from her before. This is from her book Processional, copyright 2005. June bugs. Like prom queens or brides, they have their season. Nightly for a month, thudding the pane for lamplight, nightlight, any light at all. By midnight it's all over. Their brief lives like so many scuffed pumps discarded on the floor. 10,000 foolish virgins who never figured out flame. Any entomologist will tell you the June bug's an evolutionary freak. Plump bodies, brittle and lacquered, they fly about as fallibly as hens, and with as much racket. Brownish beetles of the cockchafer group, they crash the future. Fig eaters out of Eden, clinging to hope and drapery. The calling out of names. The place the dead go has hooded windows, no binoculars. There are no birds in that air or anything else worth watching. Though sometimes this or that one stirs in the red-roofed loggia, disturbed by a dream. Only there it's more like memory, not fully purged. That's when we're put on notice, aware our thoughts are read. It's what interests them, not the body, so like theirs were once, even in the oddities of birthmarks. But no, there's no thought to body. The sense of it they dispel, lying so deep in one another's grief. Still, there's the tug of the familiar, the familial, someone's habit here of singing out a name that solicits attention, if only because touch was the last sensation, a hand brushing a forehead. And for a moment they think our thoughts and our inarticulate arms, open and birds, with the most beautiful bodies, lift into the air. Well, needless to say, I don't agree with that, but, that's just my opinion. Contemporary Canadian poet Stuart Ross has released a number of books in the last year or so. He's actually releasing books faster than I can read them. And one of them is called A Hamburger in a Gallery. Nifty cover, don't you think? Guide to Better Living, 2. Never press your clean-shaven cheeks into the dewy blades of grass that reach from the lawn of the boy who bullied you back in grade 2. His name was Todd. When the knife sharpener's wife lies in her bed, the mattress thin, her sons clutching her hands, the doctor standing in the shadowed corner, and the pine needles brushing against the window, and outside an ice cream truck with a flat rolls by, bump, 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 and children without eyelids play in the sand. Confetti Santo. I was born, yes, but we are not unalike. One day we'll come loose from everything. Yeah. Earning my Nobel Prize for Literature. I have invented a new dental floss that makes you depressed. It will be a good seller, Dad. Every time a car goes by my window, my dog reads another George Eliot novel. I will buy her a new bookmark. Let's move on to the issue of size. The latest issue of Vogue is bigger than the town I live in. Mark Laba once lived a block away, and I thought that was far. Now he lives in Vancouver. I worry that the dog is bored. I train her to ride a tricycle and invent a dental floss for dogs. Have I won the Nobel Prize for Literature yet? Study 19. I have made paintings. I painted them. Have you seen the horse one yet? It doesn't exist. Art is of value. Governments are elected. I finger painted. Mother cleansed my fingers. A man made a giant hamburger. A hamburger is in a gallery. I washed the paint off the floor. The paint lingers. Dogs are good at billiards. Children dance with big eyes. You sleep. A blue jay tugs at your sleeping hair. You painted your room. It filled with singers. Capitalism is flawed. I entered your room. The painting is called Study 19. It got advertised. Shoes are not clothes. This is a skirt. This is a bicycle. This is a copy of Death in Venice. I can't see the chalkboard. I can't find any chalk. How do you spell phlegm? I'm uncomfortable naked. I'm off balance on one foot. I have 3 sisters named Tizzy. The riot took place in the square. 84 were arrested. They are unaccounted for. Shoes are not clothes. I am not Thomas Mann. Please close the window. I mean, please close the window. The only synagogue. A falcon burst out of a roiling cloud. We repressed a desire to pray. Days of silence passed. Then Tootsie asked Bill about his grandfather. He was a learned man, said Bill, but he smoked too much near the gas pump. Bill modelled his grandfather's tefillin. We looked at each other and shrugged, after which we crept down darkened streets. Larry offered us the use of his rec room. It was the only synagogue in town. The congregation was always pinching the bagel and shooting the breeze. The postman said he was adept at scooping the fish and hugging the cloud. More from that another time, I suspect. David McGimpsey, a Canadian, I think he's Canadian poet that regularly publishes with Toronto's legendary press, Coach House. And this is a book called Sitcom, 2007, although I see there was a second printing in June 2010. 2010, did I say that right? No, I don't think so. A funny book. He's a funny lad, is David. And I believe even the Washington Post thinks he's funny. McGimpsey displays erudition, clever insights, and a knack for the wickedly funny wisecrack. Well, if the Washington Post says so, who am I to disagree? And I'm not disagreeing. I promise I'll never disagree with the Washington Post. I read it every day. Anyway, this is a funny one. I mean, every poet gets rejection slips. And even the famous ones, apparently. So, rejection. A satire. I mean, I'm calling it a satire. He's not calling it a satire. Thank you for sending your work to Tiersey. We regret to inform you that we have passed on your poems Mr. Met and Bon. While we thought they were funny, topical, we are looking for poems that bypass the faddish ephemera of America and happily land in more timeless quarters. We are looking for commitment. Poems sturdy as a pioneer who spent 7 winters in a soddy. Poems as determined as a space probe sailing towards Neptune's hollow moons. Poems that radicalize the Tory trough, yet still satisfy the Roman epicure. For example, Tiersey is very proud to have introduced poet Megan Keels, whose new collection, The Yellow Swelters, stages etymologic polities where jouissance meets gravitas, like a kiss between a suburban blonde with barrettes and Lord Byron perched on a Harley. Here's is the rarity we most cherish. Not common in the subway stop lives of television's constituency, where it's all Kelly Clarkson sings songs of hope and saving money on bags of Cheetos. Our Turner Madsden special edition, which you've undoubtedly read yourself, further demonstrates the bold standards Tiersey has set for literary risk. Like Madsden's unforgettable poem, in which paunchy and foul-mouthed golfers trudge over the grounds of an ancient burial site, their English curses coming out of bunkers, their clubs gleaming like fixed bayonets. It is true Tiersey's authors are the best. Our pages are frequently occupied by the famed authors of such classics as The Feverfew Shop, East of Mud Falls, Zinnia's Charm, and A Serving of Lenity. We are not bragging, but note, bona fide, These writers have won, on many occasions, the country's most prestigious awards, both the Webscott Prize and the Adriana Grant. But we do not put stock in such things. Awards are meaningless to us. TRC rejects the language of radio call-ins, the language of the late-night hipster, and the language of after a few drinks. We welcome those who are versed in progress, those who feel the future depends on verse, who compassionately tune lexicons away from gum-stuck streets in the nosebleeds so that we may finally hear a poem's smack. We welcome the woman whose mute father left her to voyage between shadows and unpin the prose of her oppression, the bad boy who can't help but sweet talk, who sends columbines to his mistress and body shaves in the complete dark. Even at its inception, when TRC was handmade and called Raffinata, La Raffinata, we only wanted poets of blood and salt cod, poets of heath-damp ankles and scraped chins, poets who love the clip-clop-clops of hooves, poets who believe in their native beauty, poets who know freedom to eat Burger King is not freedom but rank servility. Tired of the gimcrack catricious, the meretricious pettifoggery and farouche intemperability of kids raised on Gilligan and powdered juice. We ask poetry to retain its own mien, and for that TRC is never embarrassed. We are not just a simple magazine, but a sherry-high, leather-bound huzzah. We don't drink soddy, we don't watch the tube. Sure, there's amusement in some of their lines, your lines, but like, who will bury my dirty potatoes? But does who will bury my dirty potatoes bear repeating a full 22 times? You might want to try a different journal, maybe one with a more fun philosophy, one of those tickling little lit mags who might love your little quiz show things. Do they not burst like bubbles over time? Or, as TRC's Rebecca Plover wrote, freed from maple shade and smoked eel supper, you gave back to the unswept city square what advertisements said you must owe. Thank you for taking the time for TRC, and good luck placing your luck elsewhere. Well, David, that was great. I don't think we've got time for any more. I was going to get to Adam Saul and his Crowd of Sounds, and Mary Oliver's 1,000 Mornings, and Philip Gardner's Gifts with No Recipient, and Elise Friedman's Know Your Monkey, and Colin Morton's Wings and Strings, and a little bit of Hermann Hesse, who you may remember from the 60s if you're old enough. But my reach is bigger than my grasp, or my vision's shorter than my ankles, or something. That's it, my vision's shorter than my ankles. Anyway, Gord's Poetry Show, celebrating the great beauty of the poetic utterance and the stanzas that, project it all, not just me babbling on. Anyway, the eternal language of poetry and discussion thereof continues, whether I'm there or not. And blessings to all you readers and listeners and poets. Until next time.